Knicks N Bruises, episode 15. I got my guys here, Spree and Z from the Spree and Z YouTube channel. Here, salute, guys. Thank you guys for joining me. I like what you guys are doing.
Thanks, man.
Keep it up.
Thanks for having us.
For sure. And I will definitely join in on one of yours. I caught a little bit today at work. But Knicks N Bruises, man. You know how it is. You guys introduce yourselves. You can introduce your podcast, and the floor is yours.
Zach, you want to go first?
Go ahead, man.
All right. So, my name is Ron in real life, but people call me Spree because I'm obsessed with Latrell Sprewell. That was my guy. It's what made me fall in love with the Knicks. So I got my own channel, Latrell Sprewell is the American Dream. It's got all the footage. Purpose of the channel is really like that guy brought me so much joy, so I kind of wanted to just pull up all the old clips, everything from all the big games, just so people who didn't watch him play that are younger, the younger generation, could get some inspiration as Knicks fans, just to go back to the glory days. And then, I met Zach through Blue Orange Tears and Legion of Knicks podcast, and
Man.
It's the Knicks. Shout out to Ron Cleveland. And we disagree sometimes, but we both have a passion for this. So we decided to do Spree and Z, a new YouTube show, and today was our first show. And I think it's all these shows. Your show, Tony, I'm a big fan as well. I think it's great content, and
Appreciate it.
it's just we all want the same thing, which is the Knicks to win.
For sure.
Yeah, we are tired of these Knicks N Bruises, man. But I'm Z. I'm Zach, also known as Zach's Coach's Desk. Big fan of the show, and appreciate you for having me on. I'm 26. I've been a Knicks fan since I was 5. That magical '99 run reeled me in, and my father is actually a Bulls fan. So growing up and during that year, I mean, Michael Jordan retired, so my dad was, for some weird reason, rooted for the Knicks, which was one of his rivals, because he said, he always respected them. He said they gave the Bulls a fight, and they were always like the underdog you could root for. So he always appreciated them, and that run was just magical. When LJ hit the 3-pointer and the 4-point play, I felt that through the screen as a young kid. It captivated me. And then, as a young, also, I'm 26, so most of my time as a Knicks fan is only Bruises and Knicks, and I just got the notification on my phone scrolling down. I saw the Vaseline, Stephon Marbury. So, it's been rough for me, but it's looking up now, so it's all right.
Yes, it is. So let me start. You can go first, Z. Actually, no. Let Spree go first, because I think Spree's a little bit older.
Please like and subscribe, by the way, and share. This channel, get this thing blown up.
Thank you, I appreciate it. You might have some Knicks N Bruises that Z isn't familiar with. so why don't you start off?
Yeah, I mean, just there's been a lot of pain these last 20 years, that's for sure. But I fell in love with the team in '99 too. That was my team. My dad from New Jersey. I grew up in Baltimore, but he used to take my brother and I to games all the time, all the Wizards Knicks games. Even at the Garden, we used to go to playoff games. Just go to New York just for Knicks games when at any time we were in DC. One of the most famous games I ever went to, probably the game that means the most to me growing up, and the best game was Game 6 in 2000 versus the Heat, when we forced a Game 7. We were down 15 at half in that game. That game is actually on my YouTube channel. I posted it. That was an epic game because it was looking bad at halftime, and the Garden crowd was booing, but we stuck with them, and they went off in the third quarter. But yeah, I mean, it's just the '90s were fun, man. Even though we didn't win a championship, just the whole city could relate to that team. They were a hardworking team. Obviously, John Stark's finals, Game 7 in '94, that hurt. But John Stark he was my guy too. He was a guy that you just represented the city well under he was just a guy that's just overlooked his whole life and not a big name, but he going up against Jordan, he wouldn't back down, and
Yep.
that's all you can ask for. But
The
I agree with
underdog.
Zach though. I think we're on the right track finally.
Agreed.
How
Agreed.
bad? I gotta ask y'all because I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't old enough to understand the pain. How bad did that finger roll hurt?
Mm.
In and out.
It hurt. It hurt because Patrick wasn't really the finesse guy going to the rim. Like we knew he should have dunked it. That's what hurt. It hurt that he went for a finger roll finesse instead of going up with power and strength. So I think that's what hurt for me personally.
I think I would have broke my TV with the power and
It
strength
was
that
like,
he should
yo,
have dunked the ball with.
you know, it was reminiscent of the Charles Smith. You know about the Charles Smith.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like go up strong.
Against the Bulls. Against the
Go
Bulls,
up
right?
strong. You had 4 or 5 opportunities. So it brought me back to that. And I'm like, with the Charles Smith, it was like, oh, Patrick would have went up strong. And then here's Patrick's opportunity. And he went for the finger roll. So that's why it hurt me so much. I can definitely tell you that. So it sounds like most of you guys, excuse me, Knicks and Bruises are gonna be post 99.
Yeah, which is sad.
For sure.
Which is sad.
I see. I don't remember as much. Not the before '97. I was too young. I don't remember that as much. I had to go back. Obviously, I've watched it. It just those teams. There was pain that I missed. I missed that pain. So maybe I was lucky that I missed the pain. But
Also unlucky that we missed the good times.
yeah,
That we missed the good times of the '90s mostly. That, man, I wish I was a little bit older to go through that. I mean, pain and all. I would have loved to see the Knicks have more than 2 playoff actual
And
teams that
that's
you
the
felt good
thing.
about.
We were kind of spoiled because even then it was like playoffs every year, a battle in the playoffs. But we just wanted to get over that hump. So, if you're there, if you're at that level and consistently at that level, it's frustrating to be like, oh, why can't we just get that one? I don't think any of us had an idea of what the future was gonna in store for us.
Right, like we almost needed Linsanity to do what Linsanity did just to get there, just to get to the point where we're getting in the playoffs and getting bounced out first round.
Think
Like,
about that.
we needed Chauncey Billups and Melo in a trade to just ruin it all. Like, no offense to Melo, one of the best with that trade, and then we went to the 8th seed, and Amare. I guess a little nick could be Amare punching the fire extinguisher and breaking his hand,
oh man,
and and Jeremy Lin not re-signing. Things like that are just nicks and small nicks for all the bruises that I witnessed. I don't know about you, Spree, but that really upset me. Like when Lin, after that magical run, couldn't even get him back for a year, another year.
I think it
Couldn't
was
even run it
bad
back.
karma from trading Ewing. Ever since we traded Patrick Ewing,
A lot of people say that.
that's when the bad karma came with the franchise. At least that's where I think it started and ended with me. I just didn't think that was obviously he was up there in age, but I don't know. I just feel like a lot of bad things happened after that happened. Some people say it was after Riley left, but we still had success
I
even
think
after
part of
Riley
it too is not giving Pat a coaching opportunity with the Knicks. Like when it started to get really bad, like when he was trying to get into coaching, couldn't even get a call from his city. I think he might have put a curse on us a little bit.
left.
But yeah, I think there's a spell on us from him. But now he's got his own thing at Georgetown. He's living life a little bit, and now he's letting the Knicks out of his grasp a little bit. Notice
And
that.
Good for him, man.
They love him here. They love him. I mean, I live in Virginia right now, and I'll say this: they're not doing great, but everybody loves Patrick Ewing in the
Oh, he's
DC
a
DMV
legend.
area. So
He's a legend.
That, that's good. I mean, he got them a championship.
Right, right,
yep.
right. They got more happy times than the Knicks.
You definitely got them a championship. So, any little Knicks for you, Spree?
Knicks and you mean good things
Not the
or
deep cuts.
Well,
Not
all
the
right.
deep cuts. Just the
Yeah.
small little like things that
We
upset you.
kind of break it down with
yeah,
the little things are the Knicks, and then
yeah,
the big ones are the bruises.
yeah, the little things. I mean, obviously, um, the Isaiah Thomas stuff and all that nonsense, and I don't know, just so many wasted years. I mean, it's just like you go back and think about it. Like, has it really been 20 years? Like, it's just
It
it's
flew.
crazy. It's
It
crazy.
flew.
It's like when you're bad, you don't realize how long you've been bad.
I'll go even further. I remember, like, I didn't think we were bad. Like in the moments, I was such the optimistic Knicks fan
Me too. Me
for
too.
so many years, and kind of like agreeing or kind of like saying I understand what Isaiah was trying to do. You know what I mean? Like I seen his vision. It didn't work. You know what I mean? Making up excuses for
Right.
hey,
I'm the
as
same way, man. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. So
if
I'm with
one
you
thing
on
we
that.
know, Dolan's gonna spend the money. He's gonna pay. He's gonna pay for whoever he feels like he needs to get in the organization. He just pays the wrong people. So it's like,
Right.
Right, no
yeah,
doubt. No doubt. A Nick for me, like it gets annoying every year. Spree is and Tony and I talked about this. I'm a basketball coach. I coached 5 years, and not this year because of COVID, but 5 years straight. And every pardon my French, every damn year, I go on and I get in the first practice, and I'm talking to the kids. They're like, "Hey, Coach Zach, you follow NBA? Yeah. Who's your team? The Knicks." And the whole team laughs me out the gym. I lose all credibility with those little ones because, oh yeah, Knicks fans don't know basketball. They're trash. What are you talking about? You got Melo and that's it. Blah 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 blah. And it's just it hurts every year. And then I'm like, oh man, now I got to show these kids now I got to get on the court with them, get a scrimmage, and embarrass them a little bit. Just so they're like, okay, he's all right. But it's every year. It's so annoying. I can't get one Knicks fan as a little kid to be on my team. It's sad, man, and they always clown me.
that
Oh,
is that's
it gets
crazy.
annoying after a while. Not one year have I had a Knicks fan that I coached.
Got
It's sad.
gotta yoke one of them little kids up.
I try, but they just don't want it. Maybe if
They don't
this
want to
year
hear it.
was happening, I could get a few on the Julius Randle train, but maybe. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to the good stuff. Let's we gotta talk about the good transition. Let's get all these horrible moments out the way. But
There's a lot of bruises with
yeah,
this Spree and
yeah.
I's generation of fans. There's a lot of bruises and
There's
not a
so
lot of
much
good
to pick
times.
from. So
Yeah, like it's like what do you what like
where do you start?
when it's all pain? How do you describe what hurts more or hurts less? When it's
Yeah.
all pain.
So talk to me about what were your thoughts on the Phil Jackson era? Let, let's talk about that.
The
Yeah.
sad part
Go ahead,
is
Zach.
that the sad part is like some of it he was trying to do made sense. Like when he was trying to trade KP and it was just while his stock was the highest. Like people were like, "You crazy? Why do you want to trade Kristaps? We're never gonna do that." Well, we ended up doing it, And then some of the things you were saying about Melo hurt, but they were true. Like with the way he went about it, wasn't the way he's supposed to go about it. Make no mistake. But some of the things that he said, I mean, Melo was a ball stopper. Let's get it. He was. When the ball came to him, he was looking to score. That was it. But like, did he do it right? Say, Steve, thank you, Stephen Fox. But when he did he do it right? Absolutely not. Did I?
And
You know what I'm saying? But like, some of the stuff was true. What he was saying, like,
yeah, but he also re-signed Melo. So
yeah, I know that.
if he felt that way, you know what I mean.
That's what he was. Yeah, he was. It was a joke. I think he was paid, like by the Bulls or by somebody, just to come in and make us worse. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just. I don't know. He did that for me. There's something. He
I'll
just
tell you
didn't care
this.
anymore.
Spree, what were your thoughts on the Phil Jackson?
I had such high hopes when we had got him. I said, you know what? He's a winner. He's a champion. This is the greatest thing. He's going to turn the Knicks around. I feel like most people felt that way. But also, I understood people were saying he's never been an executive. He's a coach. And people said that's different. I don't know. I agree with Zach. I think he was trying to do the right things. I think, but he didn't go about it the right way. He didn't go about it. The public. I mean, he's a weird dude. He gets to people. He uses the media. That's just who Phil was. But it doesn't work if you're not the coach and you're not coaching them. It's different. And giving him Derek Fisher, Jeff Hornacek, forcing them to play the triangle. That to me was a no-no. If you're not the coach, at the end of the day, you can't force the coach to do what you want to do. Like, at the end of the day, it's his team. He's the one on the bench. He's got to coach these guys up.
Exactly.
So I thought that's what messed him up. Carmelo, look, we all understand Carmelo's a great scorer, Hall of Famer, but he is what he stopped. The ball stops with the sticks in his hands. He's not LeBron, and that's okay. He's not going to make everyone better. We didn't put enough pieces around Carmelo. We probably didn't put the right pieces around Carmelo. It's not all of Carmelo's fault.
Not at all.
Carmelo was in a bad situation. Do I think Carmelo could have done some things better? Yeah, I think he could have. But I think everyone's to blame, and I think Phil deserves some blame. But it was just Tony. To your point, my overall thoughts on the Phil Jackson era is disappointing.
You know what was sad? And the saddest part about it was when it was really something that they talked about on the majors and ESPN and certain platforms about, well, Phil said he'd coach the home games. He didn't want to travel with the team. What?
Yeah.
Like, why are we even talking about this? He ruined
what, though?
Derek Fisher's coaching career. We don't know if Derek Fisher would have been a good coach or not. Like, that's the sad part. He stepped in Derek Fisher's way. Like, if you think about it, he really did. He hindered him right away. He didn't let him put his own system in. He might have run the triangle anyway, but we don't know that.
Well, that was part of the problem was I think he brought him in for that reason. He brought him in thinking I got to get a guy that I can control. I think had he brought Steve Kerr in, we would have had the same issues.
Oh yeah.
The only difference is winning cures all. So if we had, because I think part of the problem was Fisher was running his own stuff. Like he wasn't listening to Phil Jackson, and that was their beef. Besides the internal stuff with the players and the coach, like I totally forgot about that because of the whole Phil Jackson thing. I forgot about the Derek Fisher and we know the story.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we went through a lot. But if Phil wanted the triangle ran, he should have ran it himself.
Right.
And point blank period. And as far as the home games, I even would have took that just because.
Yeah, I would have too.
At least we know what it is. You know what I mean? Even whoever's coaching the away games, there's no pressure on that guy. You know what I mean? Phil's not here. I can do what I want, if you will.
And also, just like Phil, the talk of bringing Phil is he was going to be able to bring free agents, and that obviously didn't work out. his rings sitting at the table with his championship rings. That was the big thing. Oh, you get Phil in a room with these guys. He's gonna get them here. Didn't happen.
Yeah, I never really believed that. And that was only because we knew he was a different personality. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like even the even the guys he had. I can't even say the guys because Jordan, you don't really hear anything. But there was issues with Kobe. There was issues with Shaq. You know what I mean?
Even
And
some issues with Scotty.
yeah, even some issues with Scotty. The main thing was they were winning. So when you're winning, you deal with whatever the issues are.
Right.
What Phil was good at is he was good at getting all-time greats or superstars with big egos to put their egos aside and put winning first. And there was a lot of problems, with Scotty, with Dennis Rodman, with Shaq and Kobe, even with Jordan, getting him to buy into, trusting his teammates. There was a lot of problems in the beginning. But, you know, I was talking mad ish about when Phil came. I was like, yeah, he's gonna build this. We're all right. We're gonna be fine, And then it just completely let me down. That was a big bruise. Was just the whole Phil Jackson era. Just
Yeah,
all of it was just turmoil. There was no good parts. It was nothing. And the Jeff he did Jeff Hornacek dirty because if people forget, Hornacek had that Phoenix team with what about 50 wins, and he
Yeah.
was and they were like one game they missed out of the playoffs with some like tiebreaker stuff because the West was stacked. I mean, I feel like if he would have been able to run his own system, we would have been okay. But yeah, I could go on and on about the
yeah,
Phil Jackson era.
he did Mike Woodson dirty.
Yeah, he did Mike Woodson
Because
Mike
dirty.
Woodson was the most successful coach we had
First thing
in
he
the
did was let
last
him
10
go.
years.
First thing he did was let him go.
after missing the playoffs by a game and ending the season on an 18-6 record,
Yep, yep,
like
yep. I mean, what do you need? what?
that right there was enough for me. I want to shout out the chat real quick. I see Chop in here, Stephen Fox, City for Real, Divine. Salute to you, brothers. I got somebody else. Let me find them so I'm not leaving nobody out. Frank Matos. Appreciate you guys. Salute. Um, yeah, continue.
No, I mean, I just the drama with Mello. I mean, it was just you could hear Mello talk about it on certain interviews he's done. In the mean, like he was trying to go to Phil and say, "Yo, the triangle's predictable. We got to add more wrinkles to this." Blah blah blah. And Phil just, I think he was a person very knowledgeable, obviously one of the best basketball minds in the history of it. But I feel like he was, um, I feel like the game was just passing him by, and he was too stubborn to adapt. Like if and that was one of the biggest things that killed us. Was he was like, "Yo, well, I won championships with this, so figure it out." I mean, I don't need to change. You need to change, Melo. What, how many rings you have?
And Melo was a pro, man.
Yeah, I mean,
He
he
took
came
it.
in and he did what he had. He did what he could do, and with all the drama, he handled it the best that
And you
most
never
people
heard it.
could have
You
handled.
never heard it in like that's what I mean. Like you never even heard it in the post game or in the interview. He never came out and said nothing negative.
He
That
was
like
professional.
Right.
he's a true professional,
Yep.
and that's one thing I gotta give him his respect for, and show people, on the outside looking in, a lot of people wouldn't have handled it that way. You know what
No.
I mean? So you got to be built to, you got to be built a certain way to handle this kind of pressure.
See, what was
No
Um,
doubt.
disappointing for me was, I mean, we all loved Carmelo in that 2012 season with Jason Kidd. When Jason Kidd, at the age of like 75, was setting up Melo, and it was beautiful. It was just like good, like Pablo Prigioni. That they all got Melo in the right spot, and Melo would just ball out. He was just making everyone better, making the right plays. But I really feel like they built the team that year with enough veteran pieces and enough shooting around Carmelo, where they played this small ball game where Carmelo dominated, and he was in great shape. And it was, to me, he was awesome that year. He was one of the best players in top three. in the league.
And that was when he started the power forward. When he started playing the
He
four more,
started
and
at
was just an
4.
absolute nightmare for
Mm.
And
power forwards.
to your point, Tony,
And
that
who
was
was the coach?
Woodson.
Yeah, yeah, I
Woodson
know.
was the coach.
I know.
There you
That
That's
had
my
you had
that's
you had
my
Woodson getting people like Steve Novak to just go out of his mind, And
yes.
Woodson's thing, and Melo said it was, he would talk to the guys and he would say, "Yo, stick with me, do what we're
You're gonna
supposed to do,
get
and I'll get
paid.
you paid. Yes, I'll get you paid." And he had all these people wanting contracts, playing like they needed a contract, and it was just magical. Even little guy like Kenyon Martin, we ended up getting Kenyon Martin
yeah.
one of those years, and he was just, you got the best out of everybody.
Kurt Thomas, Marcus Camby, and I'll just say this: Woodson. I was happy when Tibbs knocked
Wallace.
Wallace, Rasheed Wallace. Yeah, forgot about him. He was good that year too.
Mm-hmm.
Even little guys like Chris Copeland, he played
Copeland was
well.
good,
I
very
mean,
well. It's good too. I just Woodson to me is a good coach, and I think I'm so happy he's back. Thibodeau brought him back on the staff because he is a guy that will hold people. I met Mike Woodson in DC. I actually I had coffee for a couple of minutes. I got to speak with him, and
Nice.
he to me he's all about professionalism and accountability. He's the perfect type of guy that's gonna. First of all, he emphasizes defense. I just think it's a great marriage with Thibodeau, and I think he's going to be here for a while. So I think it's really a good thing that they brought him back.
did you talk to Woodson at all about Phil and what?
No, this was before. This was
Oh,
in
okay, before.
2012, 2013 when they were in town. Um,
Oh, okay.
but I agree with you, Tony. He was a good coach. Good coach. Best coach we've had in so long. So
Mm-hmm.
And
I
Yep.
always give him respect.
just because we're on the topic, I'm going to indulge and say that's one of the things I love about this coaching staff. Not only Tom Thibodeau always said this is his dream job, but this is also Mike Woodson's dream job. So much to the point, he interviewed for the head coaching job, and and told them, well, I'll come back in any capacity. Like to say that while you're interviewing for a head coaching position, that shows a lot.
Yeah.
That shows a lot. I don't care if
I
I'm
agree.
a head coach, an assistant coach, a
No ego.
developmental coach.
He doesn't have an ego. He want that.
I,
I agree with you, Tony.
I
That's
want to be here.
not a lot of people are talking about that. I think that's a great point. I think the fact that we built a coaching staff that nobody's got an ego. They're all about the team. He wanted to be here, even after the Phil nonsense that he went through. That's something that I think more people should be talking about. So that's a great point.
Yeah, it's no grudge, no grudge. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
I mean, if there's a grudge, it's with an individual. You know what I mean? But yeah, no grudge with the organization, and you gotta love that, man.
Yep.
But let's get a couple more bruises, and then we'll get to the good stuff. Um, um, initial thoughts, honest thoughts of the KP trade when it happened.
I was glad. By that time, KP had already soured. Like for me, like I had a terrible taste in my mouth with Kristaps Porzingis. This dude, I mean, we drafted him. I booed. I'm not gonna lie. I was one of those. I was that little kid, with the at the draft night, and then he started to captivate me, and then just the whole like, I'm tired, this that, and I'm like, yo, you know how long I've been clamoring for a guy like KP. He said all the right things, played really well, and then he started to do this crazy stuff with the best, like put back dunks, the 7-3 guy that can shoot, do all this, protect the rim, and then he's saying, I'm tired, like 30 games into the season. I'm like, yo, did somebody forget to tell this guy when he was a prospect you play 82 games? If you want to be the best player on a team, you got to play 82 games? Did somebody forget
And
to tell him the profession he was in?
I'm not by any means the one to defend KP because, like, honestly, like if somebody even mentions like a unicorn, I'd be like, unicorns don't exist. I don't believe in unicorns. Like I'm talking about like it could be my daughter talking about like a drawing and yeah. But this is his rookie year you're referring to?
Every year he played, I
Oh,
was
because I
tired.
mean
He's getting
I
through.
know that rookie year when big tractor trailer in the preseason. I don't remember what he did, but he basically brutalized KP and like
Yeah, he
landed
got
on him.
yeah.
You guys are familiar with tractor trailer?
Yeah.
You remember he was trying to come back and he's playing in the
Hmm.
I think it was the summer league. Matter of fact, I think that's what I want to say. They changed the rule. Like you got to
Okay.
be a certain age range or something to play in summer league. Because even back then, I think Nate Robinson was playing summer league and things like that. But yeah, man, he took him out in like the first or second game of summer league, and I think that right there was the start of his injuries. Because this man was like 300 something pounds, 6'10", 11 ish, and just was not muscle, all all body.
He was a stocky boy.
But so let me ask you, you were happy with the trade or or the return or both?
I was just happy that he was gone, but I was also upset about really this is all we got for Kristaps because I did not like Dennis Smith Jr. That was a bruise. That we got Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan, who I knew wasn't going to stay because people don't come here, and like Wesley Matthews. I mean, really, this is our best player. I know he was hurt, but this is all we get for him, and 2 first-round picks. I mean, it is or 3, whatever it was, but I don't know. It was that that was a perfect summary of the Phil era. I mean, I know Phil was whatever, but that we traded a guy that Phil wanted to trade and get a lot for. Like at one point, it was Devin Booker for Kristaps, where they were talking about that, and now you're getting Dennis Smith Jr.
There's also Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I mean, could you imagine if one of those trades went through?
Yeah.
Like where we'd be sitting right now? And I
I
heard
agree.
I heard it was Laurie Markkinen, also from
I
Chicago,
know
and a
that's who Phil
picks
wanted.
and picks. Yeah, but multiple picks. It would have ended up being solid picks with the Bulls record. Could have been even better if KP went down had injury problems. But I'm just
What say you, Spree?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. A lot of what you guys said. I think first and foremost, he had injury problems. I mean, we have to acknowledge that. Was the guy talented? Absolutely. But he had injury problems, and I was always concerned that he was going to continue to get hurt. Um, my initial thoughts on the trade is I was shocked. I still was shocked, even though it'd been talked about in
It happened
passing.
so
It
fast.
happened so I still remember that day. I was at work and I couldn't believe it. Like I was
Yeah,
initially like
yeah.
stunned.
I was calling people all kind of liars.
I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like somebody text me like, "Did
Matter of
you just?"
fact,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. A funny story. I've apologized since on air and in private. There's a YouTube guy. RB the Breakthrough, is that his name? You guys know what I'm talking about. Something the Breakthrough. I think it's RB the Breakthrough. And yeah, he oh man, he broke the news. Like he broke the story, and I was calling him all kind of liars and saying what kind of drugs you on. I was like, you must be eating Vaseline like Marbury. I was going in on him, and then about 2 hours later, like the drink got confirmed, and I felt so bad because like I really was going in on him.
So I was trying to. I'll just say this. I think we were all shocked, but like my also next thinking in my head was, there's no way that they would do this if they didn't know that somebody was coming. Like that was
Oh
the
yeah,
next. That was the
that set
next.
up the hype train.
That was the net. That was what set it. Like for me, like it took me a while. Like I still like wow. And then the next thing on my mind is okay. They got to know people. Like you don't make that move if you don't get assurances that we're getting you know who.
And that's what Stephen A was saying. He said, "Look, I'm hearing things. You don't get rid of a guy like that
And
talented."
and I'll say this. I'll say this. I really do believe. I don't think they necessarily, but do I believe that they talked to people in his camp? And I really do believe he was going to come. I still believe it to this day. If he did not tear his Achilles in the NBA Finals, he didn't get hurt. I think that scared him, and I'm just. I really believe that was. I know KD won't admit it. I know he said afterwards that the Knicks are a clown show and all that stuff, but I really do believe he was coming here, and then Kyrie obviously wanted to go to Brooklyn, and that changed things.
Why did he clown him? Because the huge bruise was not just that we lost out on KD and Kyrie, but that when I heard that they wouldn't even offer KD the max. And I'm like, you don't say that right after you lose out on somebody. And that could have been a little dialogue that they had. And KD was like, you know what? F you guys.
I don't believe that.
I'm
I don't
done.
believe that. I
I'm
don't believe.
done.
I don't. Zach. I mean, they were hurt, and I believe Dolan said make a statement that we weren't going to. I believe if Devin Grant said he wanted to come here, we were going to pay him. I don't care what anybody says.
I'm
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, but
No,
I
what I'm saying is when that broke after that, Kevin Durant was like, well, I wasn't going anyway. So I'm saying I feel like that soured Kevin
oh, you
Durant a
think
little
that
bit to
upset him? I
talk
got
mess about the Knicks.
you. I
I think
got you.
that upset Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I tell you. All right. One, I was very upset with the trade about KP, but I didn't express it. I suppressed it. I'll be honest with you. I kept it to myself. I acted like, yeah, good riddance. Well, I mean, my logic was saying if he didn't want to be here, then yes, I'm glad. It happened. And then with everything that was going on with the media, everything that obviously we've been through, I was like, if they found something quick, maybe that was the best way to do it because, like, again, it happened overnight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just played them the literally the night before. I'm watching the YouTube like 3 a.m, and and this guy's breaking the news or whatever the case. So I'm like, if it happened this fast, maybe it's better that way than the media getting a hold of, they're shopping him, and then all the controversy that goes with that. Then that's in the paper every single day, and it's like,
Yeah.
does he play a game even though they're shopping him? Oh well, he couldn't play yet, but all that kind of stuff. The
But they still
interviews.
they could have resigned him. They could have really been pricks to KP if they wanted to. Because he was been
That
restricted. They
that
could have
was
kept
my
him for
route.
5 more years.
That was my route. Honestly, my route was, I don't care if he's unhappy. You
Deal with
don't
it.
you don't you do what they did with James Harden. You do what they did with Kawhi. You wait him out,
Right.
and you get the best offer that you can get. And,
Yep.
and that was my logic.
Wait till you have security. Sign him to that 5-year deal. We'd say, hey, look, he's max now. You get him for 5 years. Whoever trades for him. You know. Oh, whose
But
Mark is still crying for that man owes me $50 too. I haven't seen him. He bet me that Julius Randle wasn't going to be an All-Star this year.
mm,
And I haven't heard from him since he made the All-Star appearance.
instead of who's Mark, is where's Mark now?
Yeah, it's where's Mark.
Where's Mark?
But
Send
yeah,
it to
no,
who's Mark.
that was, and then it's like, when you look at it, look at the draft picks, yes, but we got Dennis Smith Jr. was the only player that stayed, and
Yeah,
look how he turned out. I mean, hindsight's
but in hindsight, 2020, 2021,
2021.
it is now. 2020 ain't a good number, so
That's right. That's a whole bruise in and of itself.
yeah, I'm definitely over it. I'm glad with the return because I'm looking at we still don't know what the actual trade is gonna bring us. You know, whether we flip the picks, use the picks, depending on who those picks develop into. You look at quickly is essentially a part of the KP
That
trade,
was the
and
Mook trade, yeah.
with, mm,
That was
yeah,
from the Mook. That was from the Mook trade.
yeah,
But
you're right.
no, I
But
mean,
you know, everything leads into everything, and you know where we are now, I'm happy with it.
but
that
that was
that's
just like a
that's for
total
sure.
kick in the you know what, because you talk about, and then you got like we didn't have the major markets talking anything positive about us as far as sports media goes. And they started saying after that, I mean, Max Kellerman, of course, killed us, traded KP, but Stephen A was like, yo, I'm hearing stuff. I'm hearing that. I mean, they had to know that somebody's coming. And guess what? Two max free agents are on the block this year who wanted to play together: KD and Kyrie. And that started it all. That
It did.
started all the hype for all those months. I mean, you had got celebrities like Adam Sandler going on Saturday Night Live and using his skits like about Kevin Durant coming to the Knicks and bring Kyrie, and it was a whole hype show. And you just almost felt too good to be true. Like, let's.
So I called Stephen A. I'll admit this. I called him on his show in the NBA Finals when he was doing a radio show. I actually called in, and I said we should not. I don't want KD returning to this series. I don't want him to get hurt because I want him out of this so we can get him. And Stephen A's like that. I haven't thought about that. And then the night of that happening, KD plays and he tears his Achilles, and it's over. I remember telling Stephen A. that I could
Mm.
pull the. It's on YouTube. I could pull the clip for you of me telling Stephen A. this is
Oh
bad.
wow.
You should not play in this game. I can find it for you. If you give me a couple days, I'll send it to both of you. Um, I really think that injury, guys. Maybe did Kyrie once he said to KD, "Yeah, I want to go to Brooklyn." Obviously, that changed KD's mind, but I believe KD initially was going to come here. That's just I will not. I'll I don't believe you make that K. You can't make that KP trade if you don't get assurances that was coming. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
I mean, at this point, even if he did, it don't matter because he ain't come.
He
You
didn't
know what I
come.
mean? So
So
it's like,
I
what,
like you, Tony. I'm happy with where we're at. So I agree with you. I don't think about it. I mean, it hurts. I do think about it. I ain't gonna lie. I do think about it, but it hurt. I'm moving on.
I'm actually surprised at how fast. Like it literally hurt for a second for
Yeah.
me. I mean, all right, a little bit more because when it was like Brooklyn, all right, that hurt more than them not coming here. It
Yeah,
was like really Brooklyn,
Yep.
that did hurt.
Yep. Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah. Now after that, it's like all right, we got to do something to compete with these guys.
And they
Um,
signed Julius Randle, and we got clowned for signing Julius Randle.
are
Like,
you two guys that uh owed Julius Randle an apology?
Yeah, I mean,
yep.
well, here's the thing about that. When we signed him, I liked him when he was with the Pelicans. He was a really look at his numbers, look what he did with that team that year. He had a really nice year. So what I thought we were getting, I didn't think he would be this good. I never thought he would be this good, but I thought we were getting a much better player than we got last year. And even Julius said he was bad. So I owe him an apology, but I also think my criticism was warranted. So, but I'm happy we're here. I'm happy to be wrong. I mean, he's been great this year. So yeah,
I owe him a soft apology because I wanted, and Tony and I have talked about this. I wanted, after we missed out on KD and Kyrie, I wanted D'Angelo Russell and Julius Randle. And and last year, yeah, we all made our jokes, of course. Like I would spend an hour with my friends talking mad crap about Julius. But in the second hour, I'd be talking about, well, give him time. He needs to learn how to be the number one option, this, that, and the third, wait till next year. Let's see what happens. But I mean, yeah, there's nothing else, nothing more you could want out of him. There's nothing more you could say. He's earned every bit of positivity that he's getting and recognition that he's getting. But I feel like we skipped over a whole bunch of Knicks and Bruises spree when we started talking about this. We
I
didn't even
have some
talk about
more.
the thumbnail, about
Oh
the
man,
Stephon Marbury's, about the Amari Stoudemire's, about all that, man.
See, certain things. I want to get your opinions, but like the whole Marbury thing, that was bad. I ain't gonna lie. The whole Vaseline, that whole summer, he was wilding. And but think about what happened the prior year and what he went through. Like I always put that into perspective. Like I was more concerned with him as a person.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Mental
is
health.
mental health. Yes,
right.
I was more concerned with that than his ability as a basketball player.
Oh,
Because
we know he was a
I, fe-
stud.
He's
I
a
felt like
talented player.
yeah, I
He
felt
was a
like
stud.
even though he didn't get us far, we I don't even know if I've seen us have a better point guard than him.
Right, he's definitely the
You,
best point guard
like
we've had in this modern.
I didn't get to watch Clyde. So to me, Marbury is the best point guard we've had, and
Like,
and
a long time.
night in night out, and you'll be hard pressed even to today to find a 20-8 guy. I believe that was his number.
Could you imagine if he played today in the modern NBA?
Oh my goodness.
But I
Oh
mean,
my
like,
goodness.
and to have a guy that talented and you didn't know if he was going to play, like you didn't know if he was going to get a DNP or if he was going to play. Like under
Don't
Larry
wait.
Brown.
No. Larry Brown was fine. He had his issues with Larry Brown. D'Antoni.
And then,
D'Antoni's the guy
right.
that sat him. Never told him he was gonna be benched. Told the actual fans and the reporters, oh yeah, he's part of the plans. There's no issue. And then doesn't play him on the first game of the season.
That's
Doesn't even say a word to him.
that's what I was
I
about to
mean,
say. I was like Larry Brown. You don't know what lineup he was coming in the game with, like when he
oh,
was a coach. But then it really got magnified when D'Antoni got hired, and it was like I'm not too sure what he's trying to do. I mean, Stephon Marbury would be a perfect guard as far as for an offensive minded coach. Not even just offensive minded, just a guy that just wants to run off. He only cares about offense. How can you have your best player just ride the bench? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
We just had no veteran leadership at all. Like in my opinion, with those teams, like that, he had young talent. Like David Lee was a talent. Channing Frye was even a talent. I mean, he was. Say what you want about Channing Frye. Yes, was that the draft of Steph Curry? Was that the Steph
No,
Curry
Jordan
draft?
Hill, we drafted.
Jordan
Jordan
Hill.
Hill. Jordan Hill. I'm sorry. Yeah.
How can you forget about Jordan
Speaking of
Hill?
bruises, Tony, that's a bruise right there. Steph Curry being one pick away.
Oh
Think about
man.
that.
You know what another big bruise for me was, and it's about the same time frame. We had Jamal Crawford, Zach Randolph, Stephon Marbury, Nate Robinson. Like we had teams with talent, and we just couldn't
We
do
did.
anything. Like these talent. If you would have looked at these guys as a whole, like if they were never on a team before, and you could take guys from that era, like those what if things where they edit jerseys on guys. Like, could you imagine if Jamal Crawford, Stephon Marbury, and Zach Randolph were on the same team? That's a playoff squad. And hey, people forget, we had that, and nothing came of it.
Yeah.
Salute Jay Boogie.
Yes, sir. I was just typing that.
That's
Just
my
typing
guy.
that.
That's my guy too. He's my hype man.
Yes, sir. He gives that energy. Yes, I gotta get you on the show, Jay Boogie, for sure. Should have got you on earlier just to wake me up. Like,
Yeah, bro. You get the hype man in here. But no, man. That whole era was just upset me as a Knicks fan. I'm like, we got so much talent. I was young, but I was young enough to realize like we had a lot of talent and a young team. Like we should have been doing a lot better than what we were. And it's just there's nothing. I mean, Eddie Curry didn't even say Eddie Curry.
Jerome James,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Ronaldo
That's
Ball.
We spoke about him a little while ago.
He,
Orlando Falkman.
yeah, he was. Yeah, Tony. I don't want to put word. You were like, yo, I realized I was getting older because Ronaldo Balkman came in the draft. I was like, who is Ronaldo Balkman?
Yep, yep.
Crazy.
Oh no, that's another great pick. Let me tell you. Then we had, I don't know. I could go on and on. In those same sort of eras, you had Tracy McGrady, Penny Hardaway. You know,
See, those was like tough moments for me because those these are like every one of my favorite point guards of all time have at some point played on the Knicks.
Steve Francis.
He wasn't
yeah.
on my list, but
No.
but he definitely played for the Knicks. I wasn't a huge fan of Steve Francis. Shout out to Evergreen though. I believe Evergreen was.
Steve
But
It's
yeah,
unfortunate we
franchise.
can never get any of these guys in their prime, except Marbury.
yeah.
Could
And
get any of them to average 10 points a
I shouldn't
game.
even say point guards, but yeah, that's the issue. You know, we had Marbury, Penny, McGrady. Like Penny and McGrady are like my two favorite players of all time.
How long was
Outside the
Brady
Knicks?
here? I forgot. Was he here
McGrady
for a
was
year?
here 1
I
year.
don't even know if it was a full year.
Yeah.
Or it was either a year and a
Well,
half or a half of year.
let's be honest.
Okay.
Tracy McGrady was never here at all. Like when
But
his body was here, but it wasn't T Mac.
he also had great moments here, which is crazy. Like I remember, and when I say moments, I mean like a game where he just took over a game for us, and so I got to see
What it could be.
flashes of what he
Right.
used to be. You know what I mean? So that for me, like I give that a pass. It wasn't a bruise or a nick because I got to see my favorite player. Penny, not so much. Like I seen not really good games, but good moments in games. But
Yeah.
I've seen good games from McGrady. So I
Let me ask you this.
I
That
love
sounds
that.
cool though, because like Tracy McGrady is one of my favorite players ever too. I mean, like I like Tracy McGrady, Amari Stoudemire, Carmelo, Allen Iverson, and Penny Hardaway. Those are some of my 5 players. Probably my top 5 players of all time. Favorite to watch growing up. Like that sounds like we got a lot of guys on the same. That's cool. But yeah, I like Steven Francis a lot. Like it just kept saying like, oh, I got from me being younger. Oh, we got this guy. We got T Mac. We got what are we? Okay, and then I forgot. Oh yeah, Tracy McGrady might have came, but his back and his knees stayed in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind. Like what? Oh. But Stephon Marbury was still putting up good numbers when he played. He was still like.
How about I'm sorry,
Go
the
ahead.
Antonio McDyess trade.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
I don't.
goodness.
You want me to start crying?
I don't even remember that. Like I remember that,
You
but
want me to start crying?
oh my goodness.
That's
Another
bad.
one.
Oh my God, that's just. I mean, that's Isaiah Thomas for you. I mean, what? I forgot. I totally forgot about Quentin Richardson. We had Quentin Richardson then too. He did absolutely like nothing for us, but that's cool. Uh,
I mean,
um,
I liked his attitude, man.
yeah.
I liked his attitude. Hey, he hit a couple threes. I think he won. He won a 3-point contest, right? With us,
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
I think so.
Yep. Yes, he did. But I
it
mean,
might
I
have it
don't.
might have been in Phoenix too. I think.
Yeah. Yep. And then the Amar when Amari for me was one of probably my favorite Nick of that era. And he Malik Rose.
Holy
Oh,
crap.
oh. But we had he had that moment where it was the Knicks were back, and then after that was like the worst side. Like he went from being a hero to the worst contract in Knicks history. Him and Allen Houston being the worst ones, and I hated that. Because I actually
Yeah.
had
To me,
Amari's.
that was Nick Hate though
Yeah, but I
on
don't know.
both terms. I mean, you can't.
I
He
can't
just
fault him,
didn't
RA, because it was
injuries.
injury. But at the
Yeah, it's
same time, it's like
injuries.
every like my being as a Knicks fan, and that's why I'm still cautiously optimistic with this team. Is they do just enough to get my hopes up and me riding some high, and then like it seems like 5 to 10 business days later, it's just in the dumps again. And it's like,
Well,
oh,
well, don't get too low, man, because you know this next second half of the schedule it starts off
that's
brutal.
it just
So
has all the
the
recipe for another
five,
letdown.
5 business days could change a lot.
I really
Yeah.
wanted them to go 20-17 to win that San Antonio game. Looking at
I
that
did
schedule,
too, and they did not show up.
Mhm.
Frank was the only one that showed up.
Yeah, our
yeah.
point guard had 0 assists. Oh
Oh
Lord,
man.
and that's another one. The Frank, because I was so high on Frank Ntilikina. That's a bruise. The draft, I was like, yo, like I was like, you know, oh no, Delano.
So this is an interesting question. Ron Artest actually spoke on the what show with Steven Jackson and
Oh
um,
yeah. All the smoke.
Matt, all the
Yeah,
smoke.
Matt Barnes. Yep.
He actually said that the Knicks did a workout with Ron Artest and Artest didn't show up or something.
Yeah, he was supposed to get drafted,
He was supposed to get
and
drafted by
and he
us.
thought
Drafting Mike Sweet.
he thought I'm from New York. They're gonna draft me. I don't gotta show up. Like he was partying or something. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a
Yeah,
fact.
like I was saying, like you
That
got
that you know what? That was a bruise too, man. Because I really wanted Artest, and I thought it was a no brainer. And
who'd we end up drafting?
I don't even remember.
Exactly.
I don't remember
Sweetney,
either.
was that Sweetney? I
Might have
think
been.
that was
Does
Sweetney.
it matter? Like we all know our
No,
draft
but that
history.
makes it work. That makes it work.
Yeah,
I think it was Sweetney.
I'm gonna check right now.
Like in the Frank draft, you had who's better, DSJ or Frank? And I was buying into the hype. I was buying into that Frank hype. I was a Franker before he was even drafted, and I was so happy that the man came. And I'm like, really? Now we're happy. 4 years later, 3 years later, but I'm having a game with 0 assists and starting and shooting okay from the field. Like it's I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Oh my gosh, it was Frederick Rice.
Oh,
Who?
even worse.
Who?
Even that's right, the Vince Carter guy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh Lord. Oh no. We could have had. I mean, we could have had Ron Artest.
Oh
We could have
man.
had Steph
Talk about
Curry.
bruises, man. This is bringing back painful
We could have had.
memories.
We could have had Steph Curry. We could have had so many greats.
I
And then
mean
Artest went
this
16. He went
yeah.
16 to Chicago.
We
Yep.
could have had Jamal Murray. That pick ended up not being ours. We.
And you know, if you remember the year of the Malice and the Palace, Ron Artest was like leading the league in MVP votes.
He was.
Like
He was a defensive stud.
yeah, he
And
was
he could score
averaging
too.
he was averaging 25 that year.
Like he
That
was.
Pacers team was good.
I think that was their year.
Frederick
And
Rice.
and you know, just to tie it in with the Knicks, they did what we were supposed to do, but at the same time, Reggie was willing to take the back seat.
Right.
He transitioned into a role player. Patrick,
Yeah.
it was harder for Patrick to accept that, especially getting hurt and then missing the finals run and watching your team losing the finals without you, feeling like, I'm the missing piece. If I was there, I could have won. And then coming into that off season, they're like, "Oh, we want you to take a reserve role."
How do you feel about that though? That finals. How much different does an older Patrick Ewing, over the hill Patrick Ewing, make that squad? Like how much different of an impact does he have?
I mean,
Realistically,
he would have helped. He wouldn't have hindered. I
right?
mean, that's the only thing
But does he
I
make us
could.
win? Like, does he help us win the champ? Do we win with him there?
I'm speaking of how Patrick is thinking.
No, I'm asking if you really believe that.
I mean,
That's all.
if I believe it, I don't know. But I'm
Right.
as a superstar player,
Right.
and now the only thing that he didn't lose his spot, he got hurt.
Right.
He broke
Right.
his wrist or something. But yeah, he got hurt. So it's not like he had the normal transgression from superstar to role player. Injury caused it,
Mhm.
and then the team succeeded so well. It's like, oh, we want you to, you know. I understand how hard it is for him because it's like he's sitting on that bench. Like if I was in this game, if I wasn't hurt, we could win right now. And in reality, or other people's reality, it's like, man, these guys exceeded expectation. Uh, Patrick is gonna have to, play a lesser role so we could develop Camby and see how far. So it's like a catch-22. So I don't only blame the Knicks for trading him because he was angry, he was disgruntled at this point. You know what I mean?
Tony,
He
if
would
It's
you
take
don't
a
mind
if
me
he would have
asking,
taken a lesser role, it would have been different. He would have
yeah,
stayed.
yeah.
and I think that would have changed the path of the organization.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm over 40.
Over four. Okay, so I'm 31. So you saw more of Ewing than me. You saw more of it. So you remember all those early '90s.
I do.
Yeah.
I definitely do. I
Man.
definitely do, man. I remember the
What
the
was
finals the
was
finals
that a
being
bruise? Was that a bruise '94 for you?
it was. I mean, it definitely was. The standout, even before us losing, the standout was the OJ uh Bronco chase that interrupted the game because you know at this point I didn't get to watch the Knicks as every game, and you know what I mean. But they had the finals. This is national television. It's on ABC, NBC, whatever the regular TV station, no cable or whatever. So for me not to be able to watch the finals,
Right.
or and I'm changing the channel and it's on every channel. So as a kid, I'm just like, it's on every other channel. Why do you gotta interrupt the game? You know what I mean? Like you could
Yeah.
turn it 2, 4, or 2, 5, 7. Like it's on every channel. Why you gotta interrupt the game? So oh man,
Let
that
me ask you this. Let me
pissed me
ask you
off.
this. Because because you've seen our Knicks and Bruises, and you've seen your earlier Knicks and Bruises being older than us. What is more painful, like having every year feeling like it's your year, and just knowing like we just gotta we're this is the year we're getting past uh, Michael Jordan, we're getting past, as Reggie Miller calls him, Black Jesus, and we can finally get over the hump. This is our year. John Starks is balling. We got Anthony Mason, we got Oak, we got Ewing, we got all of this, and every year same result. But sometimes couldn't even get past Indiana.
For,
Or is it just knowing you're gonna be bad no matter what happens? Does that hurt more?
for me personally, like I don't know. Like I remember and I felt the pain of us, losing in the finals twice. Like that mellow block, or for Roy Hibbert blocking, was Roy Hibbert?
Yeah. Yeah.
Roy Hibbert blocking Melo's shot, and like that's the closest pain that I felt to those '90s. You know what I mean? So it's a different kind of pain, honestly. Like the losing, I guess the consistent losing, like what you've had to deal with. To me, it hasn't been as bad because it's like you have to you gotta feel, you gotta like feel light to understand dark or whatever the case. So if you're only seeing dark, you don't even know what light is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is deep.
Yeah.
so so I don't know. I just remember like it's not as painful. Like I think what I've dealt with, like with us being in the finals and losing, and just being in the playoffs, and Jordan every time again, Jordan. Like you know what I mean? Like I think that was more painful. Like for me personally. Others
I can agree.
may disagree,
Mhm.
but you kind of get numb to the losing. You know what I mean? Like it's like
But
Yep.
like,
you kind of
yeah.
get numb and you don't even feel it anymore.
But do you agree that like, and we'll talk about the good things. I know you said we're going to talk about good stuff, which is good. But just even though there were so many bruises for you back then, just the feeling around the team was special still.
Oh, 100%. I will take those bruises
Right.
than just sitting at the bottom and being the laughing stock. I guess being the laughing stock hurt more than us just losing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like the fact that if we're mentioned on ESPN, it's negative. It's a joke. You know what I mean? That hurt more than us actually losing the games. And you know what I mean? Because I'm an optimist. I look at the team. I say,
Same.
if this and this and this goes well, we should be able to do
I'm
at
the same
least
way.
this. You know what I mean? So I think outside stuff hurt more in recent years. You know, dealing with family and friends. Oh, you still a Knicks fan? You still giving Dolan your money? Like stuff like that. Or like,
It hurts. It hurts. Like I'm the same way, man. Like my brother, who's a big Knicks fan too, but I'll be honest, he's gone away from it more than I have, and obviously, some I'm not going to tell anybody to how to be a fan. I mean, just to me, I've always been loyal. This is my team. Win, loser, I'm going down with this team. But it hurts when you see the jokes and you see that stuff because we care so much about that, and we know how good it was, like how special a feeling this team gives to people that were here when we won. There's still no place like playing in New York City. Yes, we're biased, but we know what the atmosphere like when it's good. Um, but it hurts. It hurts because we can't control it. You can't. I mean, it's at the end of the day, the organization controls.
mm-hmm.
It's not the fan. It's not our fault. It's not the fans' fault that this has been the 20 years. The pain. It's not. We can't control. Yes, we sometimes can do things better as a fan base. We're hard on our teams, but at the end of the day, it's the people at the top and that make the decisions that control that.
You know,
Yeah, and I real quick, I would take the pain of the '90s losses and not getting over the hump than just sitting in mediocrity or worse. I would take that, even though to me it hurt more.
you know
You
what?
know, because it was
Yeah,
still a roller coaster. You
Yeah.
know what I
you at least
mean?
had some highs. Like you had highs. Finally, I know it was without Michael, but actually, beating the Bulls and then eventually getting to, the finals. Like that right there, like that high, even before the loss, the high before the fall was we got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what I would have been like, seeing the Knicks win the Eastern Conference Finals. I'd have been just talking to everybody. I'd have woken up my whole neighborhood, just talking all sorts of trash to anybody that would listen. But like, as far as I don't know, like it's so bad. Like the Knicks, it's just so bad. Like for example, Spree, I was telling Tony the story when I was in college. I walked around. One of my friends on my basketball team, I played at a sub campus of Penn State Mont Alto. And it was like a trip, like instead of it wasn't like Division One. It was it was Division Three. We played Division Three schools, so it was sub campus, different division. Obviously, it wasn't Penn State main campus, but anyway, we're leaving practice one day. One of my friends that actually I converted to a Knicks fan. Like he liked basketball, he didn't have a team. He got himself a Knicks hat. He had a Mellow jersey. I had a Mellow jersey, and we put it on because we were getting ready to go watch a game. And we're just walking back to the dorm, walking back to my dorm, and these two like foreign exchange students stop me, and they're like, "Wait, there's really Knicks fans? I've never seen one of you in real person. Why do you like the Knicks? Why do you? They're trash. Why do you like them? Like I'm just getting strangers are stopping me. Like
Right.
act like I'm sort of like a dinosaur, like an actual Knicks fan. Like I was, and then one said, they're kind of like the Cleveland Browns of basketball, and I just wanted to slap that person silly. But like I couldn't say like I'm a Yankee fan in baseball, and I make fun of the Orioles for being one of the worst organizations in it. And I'm like, we've been the Orioles of the NBA for a long time, and it's just sad. Like as a Yankee fan, I have a lot of highs. Not as much so in football as a Dallas fan. I've had a lot of lows, but like at least I've had a lot of like playoff experiences, and like almost like that's my '90s Knicks. We never get over the hump, but the Knicks, we can't even get to the hump to get over it or not get over it, and it's so sad.
This is the only team. I'll just say this. This is the only team I've seen. I'm a Ravens fan. I grew up in Baltimore, so I love the Ravens. I've seen the Ravens win a Super Bowl. To your point, I am an Orioles fan, so thanks for taking that shot, Zach. I appreciate that.
My fiance is an Orioles fan.
but
I take every shot I can.
I don't care as much about baseball. I like baseball, but I don't care as
That's because
much.
you're an Orioles fan.
Maybe. I just want to. I've seen the Terps win a national championship with Gary Williams. Shout out to Gary Williams. I just want to see the Knicks win a championship. That's it. I'll be okay. If nobody else none of my teams ever win anything ever again, as long as I can see the Knicks win one championship, I'm good.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
you could tell me Dallas will lose in the wild card division around every year the rest of my life. You could tell me the Yankees will never win number 28. As long as the Knicks win one.
If they do,
I'll
hope
trade
it's
everything
soon.
for it. In the sports world, I'll trade everything in my fandom and what I know and love for one. And I know all of us would go absolutely nuts and party. We wouldn't just be virtual friends. We'd be out partying. We'd be like the Eagles fans when they won their first one. We just couldn't tell us nothing. We're partying, man.
Hopefully, less violence.
Right? No. I just meant like the elation. I'm not eating horse manure.
It could
and
get
flipping
crazy.
cars, flipping old ladies' cars, and I'm not doing that. I'm just saying the sheer joy of how everybody can.
I would cry. I don't know about you. I would cry.
Oh yeah, I'm crying like
I
a
would
little
definitely
baby girl.
I don't know if I would. If I do, that means it's natural. But I can't sit here and definitely be like I would.
Oh, 100%. I'm crying
100%.
like my 5-year-old does when he doesn't get his way. Nope, I'm done.
I would
Water
definitely.
works for me.
I know I got a lot of phone calls to make. I know that. A lot of phone calls to make.
I'm tracking people down. Hey, remember when you said this, that,
Yep.
X, Y, and Z about the Knicks 22 years ago and this day at this time? Haha, joke's on you.
I got a few people that just said, "Hey, if they win, I'll give you $100." I know a few people who say that.
You'd be a rich man.
They don't even want nothing from me. They just say, "Yeah, if they win, I'll give you $100."
That's funny.
$100. Oh no! What the Eagles fans did after winning the Super Bowl? Don't even. I hate Philly fans. Don't even get me started. You heard my football team. Don't get me started on them. Do you want to talk about hatred? Just a hatred. I have hatred for Philly fans. Deep. It runs deep. Don't get me started, Delano. I love you, but don't get me started, man.
So you guys want to start talking about this current regime and this current roster?
Cautiously, yes.
Cautiously. Where you want to start? I mean,
where can we start other than Julius Randle?
I mean, yeah. Kudos to him, man. I mean, I called it like I was telling you earlier. I wrote an article before the season started and basically saying, will Knicks fans owe Julius Randle an apology? And some of the things that I stated in the article was basically, a lot of things that he's mentioned as of late. How he's a guy who's got better every year of his career, leading into his season with the Knicks, and that was a new role. First time he became the number one option on a team, and it's a learning experience, and he's learning on the fly. There's no the only way you learn from through that is with experience. And we all witnessed what he experienced last year. But I knew his consensus was he gets better every single year. He obviously works on his game every single year. So I just figured, history is gonna repeat itself, and he's gonna work on his game. He saw double teams. He saw different things that he's never seen before. Now he knows what he has to work on, and it's a process year by year. The good ones get better every year. They face new things after overcoming the things that was hard last year. So, kudos to him, man. He's definitely showing improving. And it brings me joy every time I hear unsolicited apology to Julius Randle by a random fan who admits that, hey man, I was killing him. And the reason I wrote it wasn't me saying, oh, he's not playing bad. And it just got to a certain point where no matter where I was at, the YouTube chat was just constantly killing him. You know what I mean? Like it was no acknowledgement of anything positive he did. It was just all he's got to go. He's not a number one option. He's getting paid. We gave him all this money. I mean, it was a few things that we when I say we, I mean MBK or a Sin, but we would highlight, like, if you look around the league, the guys getting paid the amount of money he's getting paid are third and fourth options on teams. So for him to be getting paid that money, and you can't be mad at him because he's the number one option. He's the number one option because of the roster.
Yeah, he's by natural selection. It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
You know what I mean? So let him learn and let him grow. And we're in prime position to actually pay or bring somebody in who is getting $30 million a year. That is the number one option.
Mm-hmm.
But let this guy grow. So I love to see what he's doing, man, and I have no doubt that he will continue.
What gave me the same thought process that you had, Tony, is like last year before the season even started, you saw all those videos of him just working, him in the gym with his teammates. And, you'd probably be delusional to think, like, with 12 power forwards on a 15-man roster, we were going to be a playoff team like Mr. Mills said we would. But it's just the working. Like, you saw that he was a gym rat the minute he stepped in New York. So even if things weren't going right, I had faith, almost like we talk about the same thing with RJ. Like, okay, yeah, he might be struggling now, but he's a gym rat. He's got a great work ethic. He will figure it out. You know what I mean? And he finally did, and it was beautiful. And the thing that it's just, there's nothing that can't be, you can't stress anything. You can't stress this enough, how amazing he has been. Like, if you notice, like, even when Melo was in his prime with the Knicks, you still had your Melo haters. Like, you had people there was multiple people I argued with about Carmelo Anthony. The people that just would hate him for no reason. You know what I mean? For a reason, but it was unnecessary. There's actually, I've seen less in just a 30 game turnaround. I've seen less Julius Randle haters than what I remember Melo haters. Like, there's only like a handful of guys I know that still clown Julius Randle. Have you noticed that? Like, that's a big turnaround.
I agree.
It's a big turnaround.
It's a few guys that are still saying, "Oh, trade him while his value is high." Those guys, I think those are not even Knicks fans. I think they're like,
who's Mark?
They're random, random other teams fans just trying to get him traded. But
for example, my son's uncle, his mom's brother, is a Sixers fan, and he sent me a clip yesterday. It's a 32-minute long clip of every spin turnover that he had last year with the song "You Spin My Head Right Round," just dubbed over it the whole 32 minutes. And he was like, "Don't forget this." And I was like, "Yo, you're just a hater, man. Like, get out of here."
Whoever made that video is a hater because how do you spend that much time doing that? You know what I mean?
It was
And
either a hater or
if
a
you
bitter Knicks
can,
fan.
well, no, if you're a Knicks fan, if you could do that, you should be able to find enough footage of good plays.
Right.
Because even as bad as his season was last year, he had statistical good numbers.
Put up numbers.
You can't find 20, 10, and 3 for $18 million.
I think one of the things is, to your point, yeah, he put up numbers. Like, no, I wasn't. This was my thing. I wasn't questioning. Like, Randall was still putting up numbers last year. Like, he was still producing. It just got frustrating to see the constant spin moves, the same thing. And I think Knicks fans, just once they see something in their heads and they don't see it changing, then that's where it goes from just being a fan and being critical to hating.
Right.
And I think that's where, look, we criticize, but people take it sometimes too far to say, oh, he can't change, he can't do this, because they didn't see it, and so they took it to a level that's really it's not good to hate.
And this might sound ridiculous, Spree, but I was a huge Michael Beasley fan, like when he was in college or whatever, and I always wanted him to be good. And when he was at the Knicks, that was another guy I liked to see play for the Knicks that didn't exactly pan out. But if you guys know anything about Michael Beasley, he had one of the most beautiful spin moves in the game. Like, as far as like one dribble in the post spin, like, I wish Julius Randle had Michael Beasley's spin move. I wanted them to keep Michael Beasley. I was like, why don't we just keep him to show Julius how to properly use a spin move? Like, like little things like that. Like, that was his biggest thing. Spin moves and turnovers. He thought he had a move in his arsenal that wasn't there yet. But, he didn't give up. And what I also loved about Julius that does not get talked about enough is him off the court. Like, you look, his son, beautiful son, his wife, they're at the games. He loves it. He's a good father, good person. He's got good morals. It's like you just want a guy like that just to be great. And, he stuck with the course, and now he's an all-star. Can't nobody say nothing. And it's just a beautiful story.
Also, the fact that he came in shape. That's, to me, more than anything, like...
No, Robert Parr. Beasley is not on the team right now.
No, he's not. He's available. But Carmelo was the same way. Look, I wanted him. When he had his great year with the Knicks, he got in better shape. It matters, man.
That's
like people don't. The people that think that people can just walk on the basketball court with talent. Anybody that's played the game will tell you, if you're not in prime physical shape, I don't care how talented you are, unless you're Allen Iverson, who can eat McDonald's before a game, which he did. Which he did
watch
before.
The Last Dance. Go watch The Last Dance for any of these fans that think that, and you can see the greatest of all time, or depending on who you talk to. Obviously, he's undisputed to most people, but one of the greatest players of the history of this game, Michael Jordan, when he came back from baseball, he wasn't in good enough shape, and it showed.
It just you gotta if you're not committed to your body. That's the one thing. Look, I'm not. That's one thing I respect about LeBron. I'm not. Obviously, I wanted LeBron to be a Knick. I don't have an attachment to LeBron because
don't get me started on that.
I just love the Knicks. That's my team. I respect LeBron, great player, all time great. But the one thing I will say about him, more than any of these guys, he's always in great shape. He takes care of his body. And that's the difference. That's the difference between, if you're going to be an all-time great player, a superstar player, you have to be in shape.
Right.
Hey, salute to Derek and Robert Parr. Derek wants to know what day and what time you guys record.
We recorded our first, so we're going to be a weekend show, Derek. We got Tony Crow's doing his thing. Doing great things. Blorence Tears is doing the great things. On Man, it's the Knicks. We want to have our own lane, and us doing a weekend show is pretty much what Spree and I agreed on as our own lane. But we recorded our first video, just Spree and I, kind of introductory thing on Friday. It's up on the channel, and we just live streamed today. It was about 2.5 hours, right, Spree?
Yeah, and it's called Spree N the letter N, Z.
All
Spree
caps.
NZ, all caps. You should be able to find it if you search on YouTube.
That's right. Like,
Appreciate your support, Derek.
subscribe,
Thank you, though.
share.
Yep, I appreciate it, Tony.
No doubt.
And we
No,
got to have you on, Tony. I like I said, I've enjoyed watching your content. We definitely got to have you on. Maybe we
Appreciate it.
won't talk as many bruises because this is bringing painful memories to me. But
yeah, this
Hey,
is just hard
you
because
know,
like there's
this
so many.
well that's why I make sure after every before we end in every show we start talking about the current regime and the current roster and obviously this nice turnaround of a culture. So I like to end on a positive note because it does. It bring even thinking about to Patrick Ewing. Anytime I get into an episode, it does bring back the memories and the feelings, and somebody brings something up you forgot about, and it's like, oh man, it's like opening up a scab. Like, oh man, that's bleeding. It's
I thought this
bleeding
scar
again.
was healed. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you opening it back up?
But I wanted to say some. You said something, Spree, that made me think about. It was a point last year where Julius Randle turned the ball over at the end of consecutive games. The spin move turnover, and I think that right there, it got embedded in people's heads because it was back-to-back games, the same exact identical move, turnover, where that play would have been a opportunity to actually win the game. So because like I was paying attention last year, he actually improved as the season went on, and
was
that's
getting close to these numbers now
and that
under
and
Mike
that's
Miller.
and that's what was bothering me more than anything because he was still getting that hate. Like he was maybe still have that turnover, but it may be in the middle of a game and not such a crucial moment
like it is now.
Exactly.
Still has turnovers he needs to improve on, but they're null and void turnovers. They're not.
And then to your point with the turnovers, and I said this on the last episode of MBK. I said go look up the turnovers of all the number one options in the league.
Yep.
So look at
Harden's
LeBron's turnovers, Harden.
If you're gonna have the ball in your hands, you're gonna turn it over.
So and they're all in that same range.
Like when I was going at it earlier this season, when people didn't think this play of Julius was sustainable, they're like, "Yo, he's averaging 4 turnovers a game." Oh, Robert. Oh, Robert. But they were like, Julius is averaging 4 turnovers a game. This is terrible. He's all the same. The lotto. But like I was like, y'all realize Nikola Jokic is averaging 5 turnovers a game, right? So like Julius at one point was leading the league in passes. And thank you, Derek. But leading the league in passes and had less turnovers than Nikola Jokic, who nobody talks terrible about Nikola Jokic. And if you do, you're insane. He's one of the best centers in the league. He's a unit. He's one of a kind. But I mean, and also I think it's understated. Like all 15 players on this roster and the organization, what we've built. Like Elfrid Payton, I like that whole thing of turning things around.
He's another
in people's mind. Like Julius has started, R.J. Barrett, Elfrid Payton. These guys like. Alfred's a huge part of the success. I mean, whatever you want to say about Elfrid Payton, I've said horrible things about Elfrid Payton, and I'm apologizing now. But like he's played, he's that whole interview where he was like, I don't care what y'all think, I don't care what y'all say. I'm out here trying to win games, do what I can. He's kept the right mentality. RJ Barrett's kept the right mentality. This whole Frank Ntilikina's kept the right mentality. You want to hope Kevin Knox does. We'll see. Jury's out on him. But, regardless, like this whole team is bought in. And it's
like,
amazing when even a lack of talent, like I love this team, but we still have a lack of like top tier talent that other teams do. and but like it's amazing what 1 through 15 buying in, great organization, great coaching staff will do. And people laugh at us for celebrating 19 and 18, but we're 19 and 18, like with this roster. And Julius can be at the All-Star break telling Kawhi, "Yo, you see what I do with Alfred Payton and Kevin Knox? Imagine what I can do with you." You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just think
there's actually credibility to this
yeah.
now.
I think we sometimes. I mean, we love. Look, there's so many post game shows. Nothing but Knicks. You got all these post game shows. We all go. We all are emotional after a game. But the reality is, these players, they have good games. They have bad games.
It
Some have
happens.
more bad games than others. Some have more good games than others. The reality is, the games that we've won, Alfred Payton's usually played well in them. The games that we've won this year,
Five or
he's
more
played
field
well.
goals made were like 12-4.
Yeah. I mean, the games that we've lost, could he have played better? Yes.
So could everybody else.
But, I mean, if you can't see what Alfred Payton has provided this team, that he has a purpose on this team, if you can't see that, then obviously there's an issue there, because he's clearly has a role of attacking the basket, playing defense. You may not like him, but based on the current roster we have, he's going to continue to play if he's healthy.
And I honestly, I hate to say it. I mean, I don't know if I hate to say it anymore, but like I hate to probably get clowned for this, but I think he's going to be part of this team long term, because I think he's going to be a backup. Like when we finally find our point guard of the future, I think he's going to be a backup on this team.
I think he could be a fine backup.
Oh, we know that. That's no question. He's always been a fine backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's definitely getting the slander that Randall was getting last year.
Somebody's got to get it, Tony. That's
I mean,
unfortunately, that's just
especially with us New York
true.
fans. We're hungry and we're just love to hate.
It's true. You made a good point. We are definitely emotional after these games. So I do want to take this time out to salute Sim and his show, the shoot around, which is the day after the game, when you have time to clear your head and let the emotions go. You get to get a clearer perspective of the previous night's game. So you may change your thoughts, you change your course of how you felt about the game after sleeping on it and stuff like that.
Depending on how the game went, you could be more angry. You got a chance.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible,
right.
But I think that was a very good point, that we're emotional directly after the game.
We are.
I know
I am. I've had games where, I'll be honest, I had games with RJ this year where I had to take a step back and say, he's 20 years old. I'm not going to freak out over 4 to 5 games. But I came on the air and said, I'm concerned. And now he's playing well again. So what do I know? We're all fans. Look, we get emotional. But at the end of the day, the people that are there, they know how hard these guys are working. And it's a process with young players. So.
And they're having the right idea. Most guys are buying in and they're bouncing back. Like they're taking the challenge head on. I mean, Kevin Knox, like I said, I hate to hate on the kid, but he's definitely not showing us any of that. But outside of him, even Frank, who we thought was a lost cause, look how he bounced back. Look at what he's doing. Look at what all these guys, and I hope Kevin Knox has that same story. But at the same, like most of these guys they're just comeback kids. That's what I like to call this, the comeback kids. Like this team, the Cardiac Knicks, like they the redemption, like there's the straight up redemption of these guys. It's like, it's just amazing to see. And I don't care who you are. I know Tony wrote that great article. I know he's Tony Stradamus, about all this. But I guarantee you, if I met Tony before the season started, I said, "Yo, we're gonna be 19-18, the 5th seed at the All-Star break. Alfred's doing this, Julius doing that, RJ doing this." You'd have laughed at me. You'd be like, "This fool crazy."
I would have.
This fool crazy, and I would have laughed at me too. I would have said, "Man, get out of here."
I thought we was gonna be below 500 slightly. I've been saying all year, I want us to hover around 500 going into the All-Star break. And hopefully we hit our stride going into the 30 games. You know, hopefully that's when we're playing our best basketball that we've played all season. Unfortunately, we had the Mitchell injury, so I think, you know, for us to be at our full strength, it's probably gonna take us another 10 games before we hit our peak. And when I say peak, I don't mean decline from that. I mean, you
Right.
know,
Get hot at the right time.
get hot at the right time.
Make a run.
So again, if we could stay 500 in our first 10 games back, I think we could finish the season, you know, with a nice above 500
this All-Star break
stretch.
couldn't have come at a better time. Like, you get in the middle of Mitch's recovery, he's still missing. He's still not going to be back after the All-Star break, but he's healing without having to miss games.
Yep.
You know, Derrick Rose gets back from the protocol, and you know, a long season you're going to have nagging injuries with everybody or little things. People can just relax and get treatment. I don't want Julius Randle to play 2 minutes in the All-Star game. I love him. I want him to enjoy himself, but not that much. Don't get hurt. You know, it's a perfect time for, and then if, like Tony said, we can stay 500 in these next 10 games, get Mitch back. It's not about, you know, the whole season it's who gets hot at the right time.
Right.
Sometimes teams get hot at the right time. Like Miami got hot at the right time. I'm not saying we're going to make a Miami-esque run, but I'm saying, like, you can be dangerous in the playoffs if you're firing on all cylinders. You end the season right, and other teams just coast into it. You know,
And
teams that can coast into it end up laying an egg in the playoffs, like the
to be
Bucks.
to be honest, I'm only afraid of two teams in the playoffs.
Philly,
Philly and the Nets. As far as the East,
I agree.
I'm still afraid. Like, if without Mitch, let's say Mitch gets hurt again or something like that, I'm still afraid of the Bucks. Like Giannis, I mean, I know in the playoffs is what it is, but one of these days he's gonna click.
The only
He's
reason
gonna learn.
the only reason I say I agree with Tony, I think it's 2 for me with the Bucks. Yes, the Bucks should beat us, but I'll just say this: with Thibodeau's coaching, I think they can formulate enough of a game plan to compete in that type of series.
Right? No, I agree.
And that's the way I feel.
I think he can. I think he can. If we go against Philly, he can game plan against them too.
And I'm not saying we would beat the Bucks. I'm saying we could beat the Bucks. I don't think we could beat Philly, honestly, and that's more so because
matchup.
We don't have an answer for Joel, and depending on who Ben Simmons is guarding,
that's a problem.
It may neutralize one player completely. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this then. What happens if, I know he's not on the same level as Joel, but he's a big body to go against him. What happens if we get Andre Drummond?
I mean, that's why Drummond's high on my list. I kind of did the math and I kind of changed my stance. So unless it's the buyout and then we can snag him.
Or get a second rounder, give a second rounder for him or something that's not as valuable.
The problem is we have 14. We have 14 in cap. He's owed 30. So we got to come up with another at least another 14 to make it 28.
Yes, you'd have to add draft picks, which are valuable, like first rounders are worth X amount of millions of dollars.
So now we're talking about I mean, you probably would have to include Noel just because he makes a little bit more, and I don't know if we're gonna go with 3 centers.
He'll get bought out if nobody. He'll get bought out.
Yeah. But yeah, if he's bought out,
he's bought out. That's a different story.
Yeah, I'm definitely all.
We could offer him $10-12 million for the rest of the year. You know, just to make sure he comes here. You know, without giving up assets. You know, we still have that cap space regardless, so got to use it. You know,
he killed us earlier in the year.
I'm just saying, like, he's not the best defender, but he can bang with Joel Embiid. He can, you know, go against him better than Mitch.
That was my argument. I got killed. I got killed on that. I actually lost my debate on Blanche Tiz because, you know, they wanted me to say a wing defender shooter is what we need, which there's no doubt that yes, we could use an upgrade. But my logic was this. Number one, we need somebody to go against uh Joel Embiid. We need somebody as bad as he is, and not the player he used to be. But we've seen what DeAndre Jordan has done to Mitchell Robinson as well. Um, he still has power. He still has strength. He still has
He can still turn back the
size.
clock. He can still turn
So
back the clock on any given night.
and he kind of knows Mitch from his short time.
Knows how to get in his head.
You know what I mean? So we need somebody that's going to be able to bang with those guys. That's number one with Drummond. No, number two, he's a New York guy.
And offensive rebounds. I
I
mean,
didn't know he was from New York. Interesting.
I think
Yeah,
he's
he's
Jersey,
from
right?
Mount Vernon,
Oh, okay. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like with as much as
which is
Julius and
damn near the
RJ,
Bronx.
as much as Julius and RJ have improved their shooting leaps and bounds, we still have some guys that can shoot the ball. We have a lot of guys that can't. So why not have one of the best offensive rebounders, if not the best offensive rebounder in the game of basketball? If you can get him on the cheap where it doesn't affect anything, why not?
Now, I think we would take a slight hit defensively, but I think by the time playoff time comes, I think Tibbs will have Drummond at his best defensively. So we may see a Drummond we've never seen before.
Also, though, how does that play with Mitch? Like, obviously, we're
And-
keeping Mitch. He's coming off the bench.
I
Does
was
he want to
just-
leave?
I was just about to go there. So it could potentially stir things up. But here's my logic: is it could go a bunch of different ways. Number one, Mitch is not even healthy yet. You know what I mean? So if Mitch was healthy, let's say Mitch was healthy, I could see Drummond coming in and not necessarily starting immediately for the simple fact that he hasn't played.
Learning the
He ha-
system.
He hasn't played. So it would be like Derrick Rose coming in and coming off the bench, running with that second unit, getting into shape, all that stuff. But Mitchell Robinson has to know that he hasn't competed against Drummond. Drummond has dominated him.
It took a
So
lot
he-
to beat out
so-
Nerlens Noel.
Yeah,
That's what
it's one thing. It's one thing to say, "Oh, I think I could beat this guy and get that starting spot." Mitch knows the things that Drummond brings. He can't yet. He's gonna have to use his brain to beat Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
You know what we
what
also
I mean?
forget?
The athleticism is not going to be enough. We've
Mitch
seen
also
it when he
enjoys
played
coming off
against
the
him.
bench.
You said
Remember
Mitch?
that? Remember that when Taj Gibson was starting last year and everyone went nuts? Mitch said he'd rather come off the bench.
Yeah, I
Mitch
think he was.
enjoys coming off the bench.
I would prefer him off the bench, honestly.
I'm just saying, like that's something like that might not. His ego might not get in the way. That's
I think it's up and down. I'm not sure. Like in my heart, I would hope, but it has. I don't know if it's the media like seeping in, but it's been a lot of talks all year about Mitchell Robinson, his attitude, blah 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 blah. I haven't seen it myself per se, but I think I've heard it enough to question whether
I get killed for this. I don't think he's going to be a Knick long term. I really don't. I feel like he's gonna be like almost like Drummond was in Cleveland, and why they're trying to get rid of him. He's gonna want big money. Mitch is gonna want big money, and he keeps firing agents. He's gonna have to have big money to pay. He's got 6, 7 agents on the payroll. No, I'm just saying, like obviously he wants more than what he's getting.
I think that's overrated.
No, but what I'm saying is like he wants. Yeah, I think that can correlate to he wants more than what he's getting. Like as far as like endorsements, he wants a better deal. Like plus he's grossly underpaid as far as his production. So he's going to be on a team option next year for what, $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to want Clint Capella money, at least that 5-year $90 million or whatever it was.
Well, who's to say that? I don't. See,
I'm
that's one thing.
speculating,
That's one thing
100%
that. But
speculating.
you're not alone in that thought. I've been hearing about people not wanting to pay Mitchell Robinson or how much he's gonna want since last year.
I'm
Like
just saying, like I get
like
killed for
Well,
it.
I think it's
Like
important also that he
thinking Mitch
comes
isn't going to
back.
be here long
I
term.
think it's important to see how he performs now that the team's playing. Well, look, because the unfortunate part about Mitch leaving is he was playing really well for those 2 or 3 games right before he got hurt.
shit, the
I need
game
to
he got hurt.
the game he got hurt. Might have been his best game of the year.
Best half
That was
by
his
far.
best half of the year. We need to see how Mitch does. That's why I want him back, and I also want to see how he does if we make the playoffs. So we got to evaluate him, and we got to see what he does
But
with
What I was
Noel
getting
playing
at
so
though
well.
is like what Nerlens Noel is not as good as Mitchell Robinson, so don't get mad at me when I
Right.
say this, but Mitch is replaceable. So
No, I agree.
what?
I
And
think he's
he's a rim
replaceable.
runner on offense. And
so it,
when do you pay big money to guys who only rim run? On in on offense that
but
they're not building blocks as far as like the modern NBA. You don't pay everybody who pays a rim runner big money regrets it.
When
The
is
Rockets
Mitch's
with Clay
contract
Capella.
up?
that's what's important. We have him for a whole full year after this season.
So I'm not
So
worried about it right now.
exactly.
I'm
If
just worried about it
he
long term.
even if he do you think he's gonna say I deserve this I deserve money that we feel he doesn't deserve? Because
Yeah.
I don't see that. And if he does, then yeah, bye. You know
I
what I
just think
mean?
we have to wait and evaluate how he does over the course of this season, and then if you're saying we have him another year after that,
And
let's
so
let's let's focus on now.
and so
But
does
that's
he
what. Why
though.
don't you try to bring in then? But what I'm saying is, like, I have these fears. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just my Knicks and Bruises kicking in. But just I have these fears about Mitch long term. So why not take a flyer on Andre Drummond?
I mean, again, I'm not mad at it. It's just right now
I
I wouldn't trade for him
Right.
because number one, Noel's is playing phenomenal, and you got
Oh
to
yeah.
really well.
give him his props. And we've
Definitely stepped up.
like I somewhat disagree with you. I honestly I think Noel is better than Robinson right now today. I think Mitchell Robinson's potential is through the roof.
I think Mitch has a higher ceiling, but I agree. I
Yes,
think Noel is more seasoned right now.
yeah,
The reason I'd rather
he's
have
veteran
Mitch.
savvy. He knows how to. He's seen more than Mitch has.
The
I
reason I'd
think
rather have
yeah.
Mitch is because you look at how much Mitch has gotten bodied by bigger dudes. It's 3 times worse when Nerlens Noel's in a game. He's 201 pounds. He
Well, so
goes up
also
against a guy like Joel. Goes
But
against a guy
he's
like
Noel's
he got
pick and
killed by
roll
Dwight
defense.
Howard.
Noel's pick and roll defense is very, very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
but
That's not being talked about enough.
at the same time, anytime he gets caught down low against a guy against an NBA center that's solid in size,
No, I agree.
he's completely cooked.
I
He's
agree.
yeah. I
complete. There's
mean,
no shot.
and he's also not a 7-footer. You know what I mean?
I'm
He
just
has
saying
terrible hands. Like Mitch has bad hands, but multiply it by 12, and you have Nerlens Noel.
but the
He
one thing I'll
can't
say about
catch.
Noel is his pick and roll defense is so good that I don't care as much about that. I know that's wrong to say, but his pick and roll defense is like he's always in the right spot, and also he
He can shoot
blocks
a 10-footer.
that, and also his screens are better than Mitch's. I think
He
sets good.
slips the same as Mitch. He don't set good screens. He
I think he
slips.
sets better screens than Mitch personally.
He slips more than Mitch as far as like not even making contact on his screens. He just slips and tries to roll. They both have
I
the
think
same
Mitch sets
problem.
bad screens. That's just me.
They
But
both do.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I again
They're
like
both similar
Spree
players,
said,
though. I
I would not worry about it just yet.
I agree.
And the first time me and you spoke, you mentioned JaVale McGee. And let me tell you, that intrigues me. Not to say he's gonna be the guy that, you know, he's not the offensive player. He just fits the mold of the two guys we have. I think we could get him and not have to move Noel's, not have to move Mitch, just have him as an addition. And then when we need size, he's bigger and stronger than the two centers that we have.
And he's an MVP. Shaq in a full MVP. I mean, you need an
Okay.
MVP on this team.
he's a two-time NBA champion.
I know. I'm just playing. But no, I love JaVale McGee.
But
on this team. Why not?
even with that, his Shaq and the Fool.
He's gotten so much better.
You don't see no Shaq and the Fool footage no more, right?
Nope.
And that's a testament to what he's learned. I think
LeBron helped him a lot.
Early with the Warriors, and then obviously with LeBron.
He might be the best cheap option available.
Yes, and
I'd rather have Drummond if Drummond's bought out.
I mean, obviously, yeah. But I don't know. When you mentioned that to me, it intrigued the hell out of me because he fits the mold of exactly who Mitch. He's like a combination of Mitch and Noel's, if you will. He could shoot the mid range a little bit. He's not afraid to shoot the three if he has to. I don't prefer it, but he can do it. He could put the ball on the floor a little bit more than Mitch. Probably a little bit more than Noel as well. Extremely great shot blocker. Like
he would be a good insurance. There's no doubt.
Yeah. I don't know. And you don't have to lose a piece,
right?
And you don't have to worry about does this affect Mitch? Does this affect Nerlens?
And also, the only thing that worries me about JaVale is his asthma. You can't play in big minutes. So, like, what happens if Noel and Mitch both get hurt and Tibbs tries to ride that wave out too much? Like, if
Mitch and Noel both get hurt, if we didn't have him, we were screwed anyway.
I'm just saying, as far as I don't know, but he'd be perfect with that three center rotation. As far like if you release Taj today and give me JaVale McGee, I'm not mad. Not mad at all.
So I don't know. I really like that. And with that move, you can still go get a wing.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other part of my argument was at our best, the guys that we have at the wing position or at their best, they can do the same things that the potential wings that are available coming in can do. Obviously, they have to play at their best. But we've seen Burks at his best, and he can give you the same amount of production as Oladipo. And we've seen Bullock. Well, I don't know if we've seen Bullock at his best shit, but his defense, man. When Bullock was out, we went on a 3-game losing streak, I believe, if not more. What was our longest losing streak? 5 games?
5.
So I believe that was when Bullock was out. I don't know if the full 5 was, but at least 3 of them. Right. But you can see the difference of when Bullock is not playing. His defense is legit. I don't care what anybody says. And every time because I've been mad at both those guys as well. But then every time I get mad, I go and look at the numbers. They're both shooting between 38 and 40% from 3.
Yeah.
So I think what we have to ask ourselves is not, do we want them to shoot more threes? Is that what it is? Because even the Knicks as a team is shooting, we're like 12th in 3-point percentage. We're just 25th in attempts. So, you know what I mean?
And with the time we up the pace and shoot more threes, we lose games. Because that slower pace helps our defense tremendously.
Well, that depends. When we shoot more and shoot like a stupid percentage, like
54, there's anomalies. There's anomalies, but if you look at like Oladipo, you say all what you want, but Oladipo can get his own shot better than any of those guys, and he's hurt. I don't want him, but I'm just saying, like factually, he's better offensively in ISO situations. He's a much better defender than anybody we have at the 3 position on this team. He's better than Reggie Bullock.
I don't know
better
who's
than
better
Reggie
than
Bullock.
Bullock.
I don't know that, and the fact that Bullock has size that Oladipo
He
doesn't.
don't
Like
use it.
he guards the best perimeter player every night.
I don't know. I'm just like Victor
He
Oladipo is a better
like
defender than Reggie Bullock. I'm sorry, but I've wanted. Spree knows this. Before his injury, I really clamored for him, and before his contract, but I wanted Jonathan Isaac. Delano Steele knows that too.
a lot of
People
people
don't
have.
understand. He's in Orlando, so he doesn't get a lot of coverage. But that man is going to be an up and coming one of the best defensive players in the game,
So I'll
hands
say,
down. He's young. I
yeah,
wanted him bad man.
Isaac. You're not the only one. A lot of people wanted Isaac. I'll just say this about Burks. I got this right with Burks. I like Burks, and I told
you
people that
Delano.
this is yeah, that's true, Delon. I agree with that. Yeah, Bullock's is up and down. The thing with I agree with you, Tony. You look at the percentages and you like what they're shooting, but Bullock is too up and down. He'll have a game where he shoots 7 of 9 from 3, and then one game he'll have 1 for 9. It's just not good. And obviously the percentages look good when you look at the whole
Same
year.
with Burks.
Same with Burks. But the one thing I'll say about Burks is if the
He can
dude
create his own shot.
he can create his own shot much better than Bullock. And the reason he's bounced around a lot is because on any given night, to your point, Tony, he can put up a 25 ball, but then there are nights where he puts up like 8, and it's just not consistent. But Burks has game. There's no doubt about it. Burks has game. He's always had game. He's just had injury problems. But
That
he was
hindered his career.
that really hurt his
And
career.
remember,
But
he dropped 50 on Dwayne
And-
Wade, and he's one of Dwayne Wade's favorite players for a long time.
I told people that this guy was good coming in the year. People were laughing at me, like looking like.
So did I.
Yeah.
When people was like, "Oh, who's gonna be our number 3?" I was like, Burks. But again, these guys are also. It's a dilemma because the same thing. Now, granted, Julius was learning to be the number 1 option, but these guys are learning roles that they never had before.
Right.
You know what I mean? You talking about journeyman. You talking about even Bullock. He's never been asked
To do this.
to be
On a winning team at that.
So like his role was to do that, but from the bench. You know what I mean? So best guard the best guy off the bench. So it's you got to think about these things. I don't think Burks has peaked yet. I don't think.
My only issue with Burks is like when he's terrible on fast breaks. He like always will miss the bunny on the fast break that will drive me absolutely nuts. And he does sometimes make terrible passes. But when he gets his little groove at the top of the key, he's money. Usually he's pretty good from there.
Yep.
Like, see, but that's the thing, though. Like, Oladipo, when healthy, better than all 3 of our threes. I'm sorry. You look at it, you watch film on him. He's a much better defender. He can create his own shot. He can drive. He can.
Hasn't Oladipo had
it all.
injury problems too?
No. I said when healthy. He's terrible.
When healthy. I got
But
you.
I'm saying, like, guys like that, or a Bradley Beal or a Zach LaVine, just give me those guys all day. I mean, give me those guys all day over these guys. Reggie Bullock, I think he can only play 17 minutes because his hair weighs him down. He gets tired. That hair, that's a lot to carry around, sometimes. But I'm just not a fan of Reggie Bullock. I'm not. I mean, he's given us good
We
minutes.
can definitely
given us good
upgrade that
moments.
position. The ideal thing would be get a
upgradable.
defender and an offensive player.
And here's where what I will say. If we're giving up Burks for Oladipo, I'm all for it. Because now, he like I said, he can defend and he can score. So now you could move Bullock to the bench, start Burks, put RJ at the 3, and I don't think you lose anything. You actually gain some defense on the bench
and some gain offense because Oladipo is not what he once was, at least not yet. He hasn't gotten back to that form. He's had a lot of unlucky injuries, but right now he's 18 points a game. That helps us. I mean,
but you do that now. You're also relying on RJ to guard the best. If the best guy is a 3, you're not putting Oladipo on him. you're gonna have to put RJ on him.
But that's the next step in RJ's development. I mean, you've seen him go at Kawhi Leonard and impress Kawhi Leonard. Like he made Kawhi Leonard like, yo, this kid's special. Like, I mean, and I feel like in order for RJ to be what we want him to be, he's got to take these challenges head on, and he's going to have his Knicks and bruises. He's going to have these times where he doesn't do well, but at the same time, he will.
I personally don't think RJ should be guarding threes.
Not yet.
Right. Not yet. To your point, yes, that's the next step. I agree. Like, he should, like, eventually. I just don't think that's.
But how are you going to practice and get time when your threes on your team are Kevin Knox and Reggie Bullock? Like, you're not getting any burn again. How are you going to test the things you've been working on unless you do it?
I think he could do it in spots. I don't think we should force him into that.
Right.
Because number one, that's gonna take away from his offense, and he's just starting to, get that consistency in his offense. You know what I mean? Bring RJ along slowly. Like if we could keep a guy to guard the 3 and let RJ guard the 2, RJ can concentrate on focusing on his offensive ability.
So then you start Bullock. You start RJ at the 2 and you bring Oladipo off the bench with Rose.
I mean that works too, but the reason I start Oladipo
is because it's Victor Oladipo. And he's talented.
Not even that, because I'm trying to keep the size. So if you got Rose, quickly, Bullock, because at this point you're gonna have quickly guarding the 1 and Rose guarding the 2.
Yeah, that's a problem.
No matter what position Rose guards, that's a liability because he's not a good defender.
I think he's played good defense.
He's played good defense. I'll give him that. He's played better defense this year.
I think he's played.
I've been encouraged.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think, because you're gonna have a disadvantage somewhere, regardless of what, right? So, do you want the disadvantage with Oladipo guard? I mean, I guess you could put Oladipo on the bench and let him guard the 3.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot
of the bench players.
Right, second units are different than first units. It's not like it's
because that's what Burks is doing right now.
Right,
who isn't a good defender.
Right. Delano says, "How about trading for Harrison Barnes?"
And he's another guy. He's another guy I think fits the timeline. He's a guy who
that's what they want.
Yeah, but I do it. He's on a declining contract. Right. It declines each year.
What's his numbers looking like this season? Anybody know?
I know he's shooting 40%. I think he's scoring 17 points a game off the bench.
He's a nice size though, nice wingspan.
Yeah, I do that. I do that.
What do you have to give up for him though? Knox in a second rounder.
I think it's going to be more than that.
It's going to have to be Burks or Bullock. And again, if we're doing that, I prefer Burks, because now you're putting Barnes on the bench to run with that second unit, what he's been doing, but you got an elite defender and a legit bucket.
You could also put him in the starting unit if you want to, solely not I'm not taking anything from Bullock, but I'm just saying Barnes has that style where he can fit with anybody.
Yeah, Barnes is a team player.
He can create his own.
Yeah. I mean, I would do it slowly though. Like
right.
The fact that he's already coming off the bench,
right?
I do the bench thing, not mess up the chemistry we have going.
I'm just saying, if you wanted to, you could plug him in anywhere.
By
position,
by playoff time, he'd be starting.
Yeah,
that's for sure. His play will dictate that.
If you could trade for a guy like Barnes and get a pickup on a buyout, like if Drummond got bought out, now that's something. Great. If you get both those guys to come in for a playoff run,
and I wouldn't mind moving forward with that.
Right? No, I'm just like, but if you could get those guys, like let's say, just for example, like the Kings know they're not going to get a whole lot for Harrison Barnes, right? Expiring contract, older. Not that he's old.
He's not expiring.
He's not expiring. I thought he was
No,
expiring after this year with a team op. I could be wrong.
I thought he
How
had
many
like
years does he have
two.
left?
I thought he had 2 or 3, but it declines. I think it's 22 this year, and then maybe 18.
Oh, my fault. I thought he was. I thought I heard expiring. My bad. But regardless, that's a bigger contract. I mean, you're not going to get a whole lot for Harrison Barnes. So if you could give up like a Kevin Knox and 2 second rounders, or Alec Burks and 2 second rounders, and you get him on the cheap, and then all of a sudden Andre Drummond, they said they will buy him out if they don't find a trade that they like. So, or they don't find any trade offers at all. Not a lot of people. I mean, he got traded
Yeah,
from Detroit. He got traded from Detroit after playoffs for what, a late first round pick, not even, or a second round pick, whatever it was. It was crazy low. But
yeah.
if he
See,
gets bought out and you get him, man, that's a scary team. As long as everybody works well chemistry wise, that's a scary team. Nobody
and
want to face that.
and you don't necessarily gotta give up Taj. I mean,
No,
we got Iggy on a you know what I mean? Like he ain't really getting no burn. I think we could let him go, and I think he stays in Westchester anyway. I don't see anybody trying to snag him.
right, right, right,
So
right, right.
why
Yep.
why give up Taj when at the very least Taj knows the team, knows the teammates, you know what I mean? Like he's a good veteran presence.
He's a perfect like extension of Tibbs. Like he can sit there and be like, this is what Tibbs is trying to do. Like I've been there. I've had success with Tom. Like this is, trust his message, please. You know what I mean? It'll get you somewhere.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I do like Barnes. Even yeah, I do like Barnes. I like
To your point,
Barnes.
he would fit
I
the
like
time.
Barnes. Yeah, I like Barnes
How
moving
old is he
forward.
again? Like 28, 29,
Yeah, he's
30
not.
maybe?
I don't think he's
I don't
30
think he's
yet.
30 yet.
But he's getting close to it. 28, 29 years old. Okay. He's one of those guys that feels
And
like he's been in the league forever, even though he's still young.
he's a champion.
hmm He also
And
it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths though when he went missing in the finals. But still, it's a great player.
He's 28,
28. Okay.
yeah,
turning 29 in May.
I do that. I do
Right.
that.
He can do, you want to talk about a guy that can do anything. Like you said, our threes can do a lot of different, like our threes by committee can do, like we have a shooter, we have defender, we have a scorer, create their own shot. He can do it all. He can create his own shot. He can rebound. He is a solid rebounder for, a small forward. Can keep the ball moving. He showed that in Golden State. The ball doesn't stick with him. It didn't stick with anybody over there. So he could shoot, defend. He can do it all. You're right. I mean, he's a great as far as great what he does. He's great at it.
Mm,
Why not? Why not?
Rose quickly, Barnes, Toppin,
Noel
Noel, or
as
even
a second
Mitch.
unit, that's better than some starting fives. Like that's better than bad teams starting fives.
I think
That
I
right
think
Yeah,
there could be
I
a
think
15 win
Tibbs
team.
Tibbs would like Barnes. I think Tibbs could get to.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no
He
doubt.
would buy in.
Yeah, and that him and Drummond both. Like Drummond has, sometimes
shit.
he's a little bit more outspoken, but those guys are rough riders, right? They're like a Tibbs type of player. No doubt. No doubt about it. Like Drummond is a rough rider. I mean, you don't get 17 points and 14 rebounds a game without having a dog mentality in you. Harrison Barnes has a dog mentality. Like he's a competitor. He's a solid defender. I mean, he's everything Tibbs would want in a three. I'm not saying he's like Luol Deng, but you know what I mean. Like he does some
I
dirty
mean,
work. He can shoot. I'm not saying he's
I,
exactly a player comparison to Luol Deng, but gives
I
you that
think
type of
that's
vibe.
I think that's a good comparison. I mean, as far as he probably doesn't have the length, but everything else he does
Right.
everything that Dang did. Actually,
Right.
he may be even more elite at offense. I would say gives you the same defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like Barnes.
Yeah, yo, you put me on to something, Mr. Crow. You
What's
put me
that?
on to something about Harrison Barnes, man.
There's
I was
actually
never.
I got to
He
give
left a
love to
bad taste in
Delano.
my mouth when he went
Delano
like
mentioned
0
his
for
name.
25. Oh, Delano, yes, salute to Delano. But but like I still wasn't sold on it when Delano said it, and then you started talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, okay. But
I,
he left a bad taste in my mouth when he went like 0 for 25 in the finals from three. Like he shrunk. But
Sacramento's definitely going
I'd
to
love to
trade
be in the
people.
finals for Harrison Barnes to choke. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd love to get there, and he was a
you
big
know
part of
what,
that team
man?
getting there.
Wasn't he like a rookie or a second year player? Like,
Don't.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah, he was young. Don't get me wrong. He was
I'm
young.
pretty sure because he didn't play his full rookie contract out in Golden State.
You're right. You're right. That's something to
So
think about.
so right there, that tells you the most he was a third year player, but I
Hmm.
want to say he was a second year player at that time.
Right. Right. And plus, he was a casualty to get Kevin Durant. I don't think they would have got rid of him. Obviously, they wouldn't have gotten rid of him if Kevin Durant wasn't coming. You know what I mean? But that's a whole different cat. But I mean, they would have been Golden State Warriors if they would have never got Kevin Durant. The fans would have been fine with Harrison Barnes staying there. So
Yeah, Delaney, I was referring to the wingspan though. Dang
yeah,
has
Luol Deng was
he had
different.
a ridiculous wingspan.
Yeah, he wasn't flashy, so a lot of fans don't exactly remember or appreciate Luol Deng and what he did in Chicago. But that dude was different.
Yeah, no, but he was saying that they both
Right,
they both
right,
six
right,
eight.
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
but that dude wingspan was like something crazy.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, no, I mean
But
Harrison Barnes. That would add a different dynamic to the three spot. Different dynamic. I mean, he definitely would have helped the offense, the shooting, gives you everything that all those three guys give you. You shoot shoot 40% from deep, like you said, and that's what Kevin Knox can give you. He can play defense, and that's what Reggie Bullock gives you. A better defender than Reggie, in my opinion. But and he can score like Alec Burks. I mean, there you go. And you can still keep Burks or Bullock. I don't think you have to give up both of them to make that trade. Because, like I said, like we talk about the Kings, I talk about this on other platforms, and I've heard the Kings are probably going to blow this thing up.
My favorite part of Burke's game is when he thinks he's Michael Jordan and he has those like 4 minutes where like he feels like he's the best player on the court. I really enjoy that.
Alec Burks.
I
Oh
did
man.
I definitely did early in the season.
That's
Mm.
true. Early in the season, it was fun
Those
when he
first
was
three
making them.
games. Those
Yeah,
first three games.
yeah, he got off to a hot start.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
20 points a game, 67% from deep.
It was
it
pretty
was
crazy.
ridiculous.
But then he did
Ridiculous.
a normal Alec Burks thing and get injured, and that's why you can't rely on him.
Right.
You just can't rely on a guy like that. Your best of ability is availability.
Agree.
The heck?
Oh, he was in the same draft class as Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Oh Lord, that's another. I mean, I couldn't believe
Where
we
is he now?
actually. I nowhere. I mean, he had that tryout with the Knicks and didn't make it.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Was he a
Thank
top five
goodness.
pick?
Yeah, Michael Kidd Gilchrist was the number 2 pick
Wow.
in that draft. And who was he behind?
Oh. Tell me.
I'm trying to remember. I know it was a great player, but he was behind.
Yeah, he was behind somebody good. I know that.
Oh, forget. Damn.
Let me look it up. It's
The
funny to
late
go
night
back
things
and
you
look at
forget.
this.
Yeah, I'm about to head off, fellas.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate you guys, man. I wish I could stay on for like another hour because this was we definitely broke a record. We broke the 2 hour mark. Oh, I usually am definitely done before 2 hours, but I appreciate you guys, man.
Let's do this again,
Um,
man. This was fun.
for sure, for sure. I actually got um I got something else in the works. Actually, hold on a second. Uh, salute to the YouTube chat, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Keep an eye out. I got some more things coming. Check these if you're not subscribed to Spree and Z, and then Spree. What's your other channel?
It's called Latrell Sprewell is the American Dream. Trust me, if you're a Sprewell, Ewing, Houston, 90s fan of the Knicks, you'll enjoy the channel. Latrell Sprewell is the American dream. I promise you. You will enjoy it. If there's a certain game that you want me to upload, a certain highlight that you remember as a child that you say, find that game, I'll find it for you.
It's not just. Don't get it confused. It's not just Latrell Sprewell. He's got all the '90s. I've checked out his channel. It's a lot of great highlights. It's certain things like player introductions from this game. You know, X, Y, anything you want from those magical days that guys like myself were unlucky to not have witnessed. You
And
know,
I'm still working on it. Like I still have so many games that I just don't have I haven't had the time
Time.
to upload. Like so it's gonna take me. Be on this ride with me because my goal is to try to finish this in the next 2 years to go through all the games. I probably
Okay.
am like 20% done. So just to give
Mm.
you an understanding.
And
So
and he's asking for more. So, subscribe to the channel, check it out,
appreciate it.
comment, hit the notification, give the feedback, man. Same thing with this channel, man. I need feedback. Tell me, anybody wants to be a guest, hit me up on Twitter and we'll work something out, man. But I appreciate you guys. Salute to the panel. Spree and Z, man. Congratulations on the launch, man.
Thanks,
Again,
man.
I would definitely be on the podcast. We just got to work out a time frame. The weekends are usually good for me. You guys go on a little bit early.
that
No,
was a
we
set
well,
time.
sometimes
We're
we'll
flexible,
do
bro.
later on weekends too. We don't have a set time, so we
all
could
right,
definitely go
all
late.
right. We'll work something out for
What's your
sure, man.
Twitter handle, Tony?
If you just search Joe Blackest Time,
Okay.
I'll pop up.
Okay.
But it's A.M.CROW3.
Gotcha.
Or
Appreciate
yeah,
you for having us on, big man. It
no,
was a
for
pleasure.
sure,
It was
Yeah,
fun.
man.
for sure.
It was enjoyable to go back memory lane.
But hold on, don't
Somewhat